So there is a question that was sent to me, which I will address later. So for now, if you could just turn your attention inward or close your eyes and rest as you are. And welcome your experience just as it appears to you, whichever way it appears. Rather than perceiving from any particular point of view. Invite yourself to perceive from your globality, from your wholeness, as if this body-mind is just your instrument. And you, which is not the instrument, is perceiving via this instrument. So you are the presence, let's say the vital force. And so you perceive your entire perception within your globality, within your totality. It does not matter much what it is that you perceive. Whether it's a certain sensation or image, shape, a thought. See if you can perceive your perception as a seamless tapestry of shapes, sounds, colors. Without any division. Without any particular focus, not sort of a defocused perceiving a seamless perception. Which excludes nothing. So that there is nothing missing. Nothing that's standing apart from anything else. Maybe sometimes a particular sound rises above other sounds and then it sort of ebbs back to take a less noticeable position. But the entire experience is an uninterrupted, sort of a movement or a flow that's actually not flowing anywhere in particular. And you are both the flow, the tapestry, and the awareness. The tapestry is not separate from the awareness. But the awareness is free to color itself whichever way it does. Perceiving from that vantage point the entirety of your experience is embraced, and there is no effort, effortlessly. Not something special. But it is peaceful. Because in this globality, in this global way of being and perceiving, There is nothing at stake for anyone. It's all fresh, the fresh scent of presence. And as this intimate presence there's no belief. Nothing is separated out of your experience. It all functions smoothly, harmoniously. There is no personal, separate aspect. That is worried and concerned. It's complete absence, complete presence. And as this presence and harmonious tapestry of existence there is no need to claim a certain turf, to identify with it. There's no need to feel the limitation that comes with identifying with any form. There is no need to separate yourself in order to figure a way to make yourself whole again. There is no force imposed upon you. To reduce yourself to a set of beliefs, images, feelings, which become your battleground. What for? You cannot regain that which you are. You cannot find peace and happiness for an imaginary character that you identify yourself as. The spin of unhappiness and the identification they're one and the same. You need to stop sitting on that bed of nails. You don't need to continue with your identity as based on images, events of the past. Beliefs. This storyline of I consciousness existing in time as a son, a daughter. And in letting go of the past and the future, You come upon your true self freshly, independent of thought, independent of the world and the body. You realize that which is untouched, which is real, but it's not a form. It's not what you imagined yourself to be. It's not what you feel or have felt yourself to be. It's none of that. And it lives as this fresh moment of life, unknowing, and yet the flow is harmonious. Because there is a deep understanding of our eternity and immortality, our fearlessness. Which is our true self, the fearlessness of consciousness. Effortless. Okay, so if you have any questions, please make sure you unmute your mic, and you're welcome to turn on your video if you like. So any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Yes. Hello,
Um,
Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I was going to ask, sometimes when I'm sitting quietly, I feel the beingness come to the foreground, and it's often accompanied with great fear. Am I loud enough?
Yes, you said the company. I didn't hear the last few words.
Maybe I can turn up my volume. Accompanied by lots of fear.
Okay.
And then the mind pulls me back to being a person, and
Yes.
just wondering how to approach that experience.
Yes. So first, there is the understanding, which is helpful. The understanding is that fear, to adjust the volume, it seems. You see, I thought I had, but maybe. Okay. That fear always relates to me as a person. And so we need to inquire into this me, meaning inquire into the belief that I, which is that which hears these words right now, which we refer to as awareness, the belief that I is the body mind. Obviously, the body mind is subject to various conditions: temperature, moisture, nutrition, social interaction, etc. It's the core, the hinge of the fear, the heart of the fear, is in that belief that I is the body mind that my parents named Charlie, and that we all named Charlie. So as long as that belief is operating somehow, hasn't fully been dissolved out of your being, as long as this belief is still operating, even when seemingly all is well, the potential of fear is still there. Fear, and more than fear, the negative emotions, a variety of negative emotions. You mentioned fear, but sometimes it's depression, concern, worry, regret, whatever, and many negative emotions. They're just having a siesta. They're not, they're there, you know. It's just a matter of you shake it a little bit, and then all those particles, you know, they arise, you know. You know, those glass...
Snow globe.
Snow globe, yes, like snow globe, thank you. Now, so yes, we understand that. That's the key inquiry, is how, on what basis do I believe that I, awareness, which is the reality of my experience, because I is real, awareness is real. On what basis is this reality arising out of the body, or dependent on the body, or gets happy when the body is happy, gets unhappy when the body is unhappy? On what basis do I hold this belief? Because a belief that is based on fact, it's no longer a belief, it's a fact. It's like you believe 2 + 2 = 5, and somehow at some point you realize 2 + 2 = 4. The belief is no longer 2 + 2 = 5. There is a fact now, 2 + 2 = 4, you know, as a metaphor. So the body-mind, meaning Charlie, is an experience that you are having. In other words, you perceive bodily sensations. You perceive images of a body, images of that you call, oh, that's Charlie. Oh, that's Charlie's brother. Oh, that's Charlie's friend. Oh, that's Charlie's car. As, you know, you perceive images that refer to Charlie. You perceive sensations. Say, oh, this is a sensation. My feet on the ground. Oh, this is Charlie's body. You perceive your hand. You say, oh, that's Charlie. That's Charlie's hand. So Charlie is a bundle of perceptions, images, and sensations, let's say. Okay? You perceive sensations, thoughts, perceptions. Given that you, awareness, perceive Charlie, you cannot be Charlie. You perceive an oak tree in the yard. You perceive your car in the garage. Yes, it is your car. It is registered in your name. Yes, the oak tree is in your backyard. Yes, but you are not the oak tree. You are not the car. You are not the body-mind. Now, there is no evidence that consciousness is the result of thought. You could have a thought about consciousness, but this does not mean that consciousness is the result of thought. You could have a thought about your mother, about your car, but this does not mean that your car is the result of your thought. You can have a thought about New York City, but this does not mean New York City is a result of your thought. You can feel that you are your car, but this does not mean, no matter how strong that feeling is, that your car is as a result of your strong feeling that you are the car. Similarly, about consciousness, you can feel that, oh, this body, this mind, this is consciousness. But even if you have a very strong thought that the body-mind is consciousness is similar to you having a very strong thought that you are the car and that therefore, in fact, you are the car, but you're not. A thought is just an event. It's an internal or subtle weather event. A rainbow or rain or a cloud or a song of a bird is a gross weather event. So there are events, meaning appearances. Some are subtle, some are gross. It's what we refer to as existence. By consciousness, we refer to the reality of existence and the only reality. There is one reality. The reality of existence means it's the reality of this perception, the reality of this sensation, the reality of whatever thought you have. Because a thought means nothing without its reality. Whatever exists has no significance, nothing to speak about it if it doesn't have a reality. The error we make in our thinking, in our understanding, is that a thought has a thought reality. A table has a table reality. My car has a car reality. My feeling of hunger has a feeling of hunger reality, a feeling reality. No. The reality of all the experiences that you have cannot be many different realities, because you cannot have different realities. Reality refers to one reality. You cannot have many realities, because if you have many realities, they will be completely separate, and therefore there would be no possibility to know them because they are separate. So all these different experiences refer to one reality. And when you look at your experience, you come to the understanding, and you need to look into that yes, there is one reality, and that reality is what we refer to as consciousness, or I. I don't mean I, the body-mind named Charlie. I mean I, the reality that perceives and the reality that is. So above all, this is the direction that you need to understand, that you need to contemplate. Now, in terms of dealing, now we're dealing with the fear. Let's say the fear arises. Well, a couple of things. First, fear or any emotion, depending on how loud it is. I would say, irrespective of how loud it is, but for the time being, dependent on how loud it is, it's possible to break down the emotion or the feeling into its components. Just to break down into its components. And I don't mean just mentally, but I will speak conceptually, but then you also have to do it non-conceptually. So conceptually, a feeling is an appearance, something that appears to you, right? Because if it won't appear to you, you won't even be talking to me or to yourself about any feeling. Obviously, it is something that you are perceiving, right? Consider that everything that you perceive is equal. Is equal in that it is arising within the same space. Whether you're hearing a symphony or whether you're hearing an opera, whether you are hearing the ducks, quacking, whether you are hearing my voice, whether you are perceiving this perception, or whether you are perceiving this sound, or whether you are perceiving the sensation of your feet on the ground, they're all equal in that they're all arise within the same space of awareness. When I say they're equal, I'm trying to make a very particular point. What I'm trying to say is that it's true that when you look at the rainbow, there are all these different colors, but they're all equal in that they're all colors. They're all equal in that they're all appear the same appearance. They're all equal in that they're all appearances. So consider that a feeling is something that appears to you. It's neutral. It's like this appears to you, this perception appears to you, this sound appears to you, or pinch. You can pinch yourself. This is also an appearance and something that's appearing to you. What makes the difference between what I just said about that, something appearing to you, and a feeling, is when an appearance arises, and then you say, why is this appearing? It shouldn't appear. Now, this neutral appearance has changed. It's no longer neutral. It is now having a relationship with you. You being the thought that is judging it, that is resisting it, that is rejecting it, that is having some sort of personal commentary with it. As soon as you introduce the aspect of resistance, and we usually resist because we believe we are defending something, which is fine. I mean, resistance in a certain circumstance, is very appropriate. But in the circumstance that I'm talking about now, it is not appropriate. It is appropriate when somebody is aggressing you to resist, whichever way, run away or whatever way you resist. But when I'm talking about the emotion, the feeling of fear, the emotion of fear, you need to understand that as soon as you approach a neutral appearance with your conditions, with resistance, with judgment, with wanting it to be different, then you are going to have the experience of a feeling. Now, so then the question is, can I approach my experience as a neutral event? And the answer is yes, because the event that you are perceiving is already on board. It's already on board. This is nothing. It's already happened and it's done. It's a fact, it's done. So whatever resistance we have is in vain. It's like, it's an add-on, unnecessary add-on. And contemplate that everything that unfolds, like hearing this voice right now, like this speaking, is part of the universe. Your breath, the gravity of the earth, the gravitational forces within the galaxy, interaction between various galaxies, the weather, the atomic structure of the universe, all of that is one whole. It's a completely open system. And your thoughts, your perceptions, your experiences is part of this open system. So it's
So I was going to say, I feel like I recognize this in many moments. It's just somehow it's not final. It's somehow I lose it again.
Yes.
But the way that even all my thoughts, that all the feeling of being a person, it's just an appearance of reality. That's the reality in this moment.
Yes.
But then it.
Yes. Now the thing is, what do you assume yourself to be?
A person, I think.
A person,
yeah,
in a way, is a storyline. A person is not that which you are. It's that which you think you are, or you feel you are, or you believe you are, or the society believes you are. That's the question, is what you consider yourself to be. To yourself. It's better off not to consider yourself to be anything. Meaning, I am, obviously. I am aware, obviously. But that's not that does not mean I am considering myself to be anything. It's just a fact. It's just describing a fact. Yes, I am and I am aware. It is not a fact that I am a person. It is a fact that I perceive this and I hear the sound. It is a fact that I sense a sensation in my belly, for example, if I'm hungry. But that I am a person, that's a download. And if you consider to be yourself a person, a great person or whatever, it's limited. No matter, even if you're consider yourself the greatest person, it's still limited. On what basis, why would you want to consider yourself to be a person? A person usually refers to a set of experiences, body-mind experiences. Why do you want to consider yourself or define yourself via a set of body-mind experiences which you perceive? Obviously, you perceive thoughts and sensations and so on, but that does not mean that you are that which you perceive. So when you say, yes, I get it, and sometimes I lose it, is because whenever you consider yourself to be a person, you lose it. But whenever you don't consider yourself to be anything, just like right now, I'm not considering myself to be anything. I'm not considering you to be anything, nor are you considering me to be anything, nor are you considering yourself to be anything. So all is well. In the deepest sense, I mean it. In the deepest sense, all is well. But as soon as I consider myself, I'm whatever, and then I cannot say all is well. I have to see if that shoe fits, try that and notice that. What do you consider yourself to be? And the other question is, do you really need to consider yourself a person? I mean, when you go drive a car, let's say you go to the market, to buy something, do you need to consider yourself to be a person? When you signed up for the the satsang and you came here, did you need to consider yourself to be a person?
No.
It makes sense to consider yourself to be a person if you need to. Like, for example, when I'm stopped by the police, tells me your license and registration, then I say, okay, then I am this person. They say, oh, yes, officer, here is who I am. But it's so rare, I mean, it's, thank goodness. I used to be more foolish in my young days, but yes, there are moments where, okay, fine, you are the body because it's required in a way. But it's just a practical formality.
How does it come to be that you stop making the mistake of believing to be a person? Because sometimes I imagine it to be an event in the future, and then I'm seeking it, which obviously you told me before. Obviously, that's the wrong way to go.
No, in many little ways we understand, in smaller ways, in many iterations, we understand, that, I am not, a son, I am not a father, I am not, the body mind is maybe a son or maybe a father or a friend or whatever, a male or female, whatever. So there has been many understandings, repeated understandings, that, okay, I am not that which appears. And the understanding has an effect. It's like when you put a teeny tiny drop of yellow dye in the water. You don't see it, but yet it has altered the water. Then you put another teeny tiny drop of yellow dye in the water. You still don't see it. But it's changed even from the previous drop that you put in. That second drop, it's also changed it even more. Understanding is like that. You may not even see it or sense it. But if the understanding is about truth, then it's the correct dye that you're putting in this, as a silly metaphor, but it's the correct medicine or the correct direction. Any contemplation about truth has an impact. It has an import. May not necessarily be noticeable immediately. But as you continue to direct your attention towards truth, towards peace, towards happiness, not causeless peace on happiness, not happiness that depends on money, relationship, as long as you continue to direct your attention in the direction of the light, of the truth, of the love, of the beauty, of the freedom, the absolute. Yes, that has a tremendous effect, tremendous import. Our intention, our interest, and then becomes our love, takes us towards the direction that we love. So to remind ourselves, what do we mean by I? What is I? When I say I, am I referring to the body-mind, to the son, the daughter, the father, the mother? Am I referring to that? Am I referring to thoughts and feelings and sensations, images and memories and beliefs and preferences? Which are okay, they pertain to the body, they pertain to the body-mind. But when I say I, am I referring to that? Am I referring to the body-mind? Or am I referring to the reality that perceives, the reality that is?
and we can't deny the reality of that we are.
What would deny it? What would deny I am? What would deny awareness? What candidates are there to deny awareness?
Just thoughts.
Thoughts appear in awareness. Thoughts are like a bird flying by the window. You know, like you have the open window, or, you know, the shutters are open. Thoughts are like something you perceive. What power does a bird that is flying by the window have over you that perceives it? Can that bird that you perceive deny that you perceived it? The fact that you perceive the bird is a proof of awareness. The fact that there is a thought that says, oh, here I am, I'm denying awareness. The fact that you perceive the thought is a validation of awareness, right?
Yeah.
So awareness is absolute. We have no experience whatsoever of I am not, of non-awareness. None of us have ever had an experience of non-awareness. We had an experience of, actually every night in deep sleep, we have every night an experience of no perception, no body, no thoughts, no sensations, you know, like in deep anesthesia or in deep sleep. We have experience of no world, meaning no perception, no body, and no mind, no thoughts. But no one has experience of no awareness. It's not possible.
Because to experience no awareness, you'd have to be aware of it.
You got it, absolutely. Awareness, I think, is a non-phenomenal. It's not made out of thoughts or feelings or atoms or molecules, or it's not made out of anything. As we say, the formless, substanceless. It's not composed of elements. Anything that is made out of something changes, because those things change. Even an atom, you know, we can have a fissure and it changes. So, but consciousness is non-phenomenal. It's the only candidate that there is, which is non-phenomenal, is consciousness. Everything else is phenomenal. Another way of saying it is there is one reality and infinite manifestations. The manifestations are that very reality creating out of itself manifestation, which we refer to as existence. Anyways, that's moving away from moving in a different direction here.
No, so thank you very much.
Okay, Charlie. Thank you for your question. So any questions? maybe if there are no questions for now, I could go over this question that was sent to me. Magdi, could you talk about transition from the little limited thinking mind to the vast mind? Please talk about the limited seeing to the vast seeing. Yes. In fact, all our experience is always that of the big, the vast seeing. If you turn your attention away from a particular object, and if you somehow consider that that which is perceiving is not some local object inside of your brain or behind your eyes. So I'm inviting you to sort of look at your experience right now, releasing the model, the belief that I am here and the world is out there, and my experience is that this limited object is seeing this other object out there. You have to sort of see if you can press the pause button on this model and just go to your experience without a model, no model. Here we are perceiving right now. There is a perception, but there is no model of me and the world, which is right now this experience. My perception, like your perception, like all perception, is an open field, an open field. You could say an open field of perception, or you can say an open field of awareness. There isn't, in fact, within your perception, something that's saying, okay, that part I don't want to perceive, this part yes, this part no, this part is better, this part is worse. No. These thoughts may arise, but even if when these thoughts arise, it does not alter the fact that your perception and your experience is always an open field of awareness. It's an open field of awareness. Only when you add to this open field of awareness, oh no, there is a me out here and a world out there. Now, because of this add-on, which is what we refer to as the me, the personal self, you have put on a model that alters your perception. Because of the model that I am here and the world is out there, you will perceive that you are limited, that there is what you call a little seeing. You will experience a little limited thinking, a little limited seeing. You will experience that simply because of that model. But any time, and I'm inviting you in this moment to drop this model, just be without a model for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, be without a model. Simply look at your experience without going to the idea that I am here and my name is so and I am the son and the father and whatever. Just this moment of perception, this experience. Is it not an open field of the field of perception is open? Whatever appears in it, appears in it. A thought, a sound, a bird singing, a sound of rain, a feeling arises. It's always an open field of perception. Now, there is the prism, the white light and the prism. When the white light hits the prism, it diffracts in many different colors. The prism in your experience is the belief that I meaning consciousness, that this consciousness, is this person here, is this body mind, is some form, is a born object, and is made out of atoms and molecules and the feelings and thoughts and memories and whatever. That's as soon as you introduce this prism, then your body mind will diffract the wholeness, the light, the infinite, into many finite forms. So what I can tell you is that investigate the necessity, the need, and the validity, the veracity, the truth, the validity of the model which says, I am Magdi, I'm a man, yes, the body is Magdi, the body is, but that I, awareness, I, consciousness, I, this transparent presence, am something. And you don't need to replace this model that I am something with I am awareness. No, just let go of the model or any model that I am something. Remain as you are. And your experience will reveal itself to you, will confirm to you in the absence of the model that I am somebody. It will confirm to you your reality. So it's not a process of making an effort to go from limited seeing to big seeing or vast seeing. It's not an effort. If there is effort, you're still in the old model of me trying to do an effort in order to get somewhere. That same model is operating. It's simply noticing that without any model, your experience is the experience of consciousness. Your reality is that of consciousness.
Hey, Magdi.
Yes.
Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah. Yes. Could you speak to I think that the topic of the satsang was freedom from feeling, freedom from strong emotion.
Yes.
To me, that's where where my interest is.
Yes. Yes.
I know that what we're talking about here lies beneath it all.
Yes.
But through the course of my life in spiritual interest, if we could use that word, I'm not so much as a philosopher as I am a freedom seeker, meaning I know I don't have to suffer, so why do I?
Yes. Yes. It's a good question, Bill. Wow. Yeah. You know, sometimes it's difficult for us to accept that there is no one imposing suffering on us. So, which if we really grok that, leaves us with just with ourselves, that suffering is an inside job. I mean, yes, we're all familiar with, oh, he's doing this to me, she's doing this to me, my mother, but we're familiar with that inner story, but we became wise to that. We're not buying this BS. We're not buying it. We realize that it's an inside job. So here we are. I mean, me and myself, and think, well, wait a minute, is it an inside job or not? And on my end, I say, yeah, it is an inside job. So I need to understand it because heck, you're not gonna help me. No, nobody's gonna help me because it's my job. It's my inner job. What, you're gonna somehow enter into my being and fix me? No, it's gonna be my own doing. So, okay, fine. That's one aspect of it. And for so many years, I've been wanting happiness, wanting to be happy. And I couldn't stand even a teeny tiny drop of unhappiness. It was bugging me, even though I may have seemed to be, oh, all is well. It's bugging me. That's whatever little happiness, that little pebble in my shoe was bugging the heck out of me, bugging me. And, I recall so many times just talking about my mom and the fact that we immigrated to this country, my brother did this to me, and blah, 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 blah. I've went through the whole rigmarole of, following thought that's always pointing outward. And over time, I realized that everything that's happened in my life, including some awful things, that, I wouldn't want to redo or repeat. At some level, I cannot explain it, but I know deep down within that, and that's also between me and myself, that they were just right. That just what the doctor prescribed somehow. I mean, they had their place, their significance, their role, their function as part of, this unfolding. So, which means I came to understand that there is nothing out of place. Okay, so there's nothing out of place. Whichever way my brother is, my boss is, my employees are, my banker is, etc. It's nothing out of place. Whichever way the government is, the world is, nothing out of place. Now, so like, then what? If everything is just as it's meant to be, and I really get it, it's a matter of, I really get it, then on what basis would I have any freaking argument? And I'm not talking about if somebody's standing on my foot, I think we've had many conversations before. You know that if somebody's standing on my feet, I'm going to say, hey, excuse me, you're standing on my foot. That there is action that arises out of intelligence. And it's not an action that arises in order to better myself or to the opposite of better myself, to put myself down. The action that arises out of intelligence is good and fair and correct and appropriate across the board. I don't know, I cannot predict it ahead of time, but at the moment, I know it. At the moment of acting, I know it. Why? Because it is responding not out of the past. And the reason why it's not responding out of the past is because the past is not only isn't real in this moment, but it's also completely infected by my stories. I have so many stories about so many things. And that's in effect, when I look at my past, that's what it is. So there is a response that comes in the moment from presence. Now the suffering and the ending of the suffering, yes, it is very much so based on the understanding that what I truly am is completely, has nothing to do with suffering. That suffering is a different conversation altogether. It's in a way a conversation between me and myself that maintains me and myself, that maintains my story, that maintains my sense of personhood in some way. Now, having said all that, I don't know what the next moment is going to be. I don't know if the next moment, my partner, my friend, my neighbor, I don't know what is going to unfold in life. But I don't need to know, and I'm not trying to protect anything. There is intelligence that takes care of the body-mind. It's there. I know it's there. And I also know that I am not the body-mind. I know that, and I had to look at that over and over and over and over to be careful. Yes, it's true, I'm not the body-mind, because I perceive it. Yes, there is speaking going on right now. But in fact, the body-mind is serving a function. It's a mechanic. It has a mechanistic aspect to it. It has the senses and so on. But awareness is not dependent on the body-mind. And although in a way one could say that awareness sort of is functioning via this body-mind, which we call the functioning of the body-mind, still, this does not mean that awareness is the body-mind. It's like the electric current comes to the filament in the light bulb and energizes it, and then there is the manifestation of light. There is the light bulb functioning. But although the light bulb is functioning, I cannot say that the electric current is the light bulb. The electric current obviously is energizing the light bulb, but it's not the light bulb. So that understanding is an important understanding in terms of suffering, because consciousness does not suffer. That which suffers is suffering, I would say, is a mind impression, which is basically just a series of contractions and stories. Contractions meaning sensations within the body, but I don't mean to diminish them. They can be, pretty gross. Plus the stories. So that's suffering. Suffering is the meeting, the interaction, the interaction of a sensation And the story being, you know, why is this happening to me? Or the story is, oh God, I could do better in my life. Or the story could be, heck, how much longer is this going to last? Whatever. It's still a story, a me story. And obviously, the body mind is right there. It's going to sing that song. You know what I mean? You strike that chord, it's gonna dance. So the body is going to start huffing and puffing, sweating. Body temperature may go up. I may flare up. Whatever. I may even my thinking may become totally erratic. I may suddenly have tunnel vision because of the thought they are screwing with me, and I'm going to show them who the boss is. Whatever thought arises. Who knows? We don't know. We never know. We don't know. But the freedom from suffering, I feel, is connected with seeing that all the stuff that's unfolding as in our life is an unfolding, but it's not that which we are. And so we can live that which is unfolding in our life from the perspective of being, from the perspective of presence, from the perspective of universal consciousness, rather than living it from the perspective of Magdi, who, of course, has agenda and has a history and has a future and has ambition, etc., etc., etc. You know, it's really amazing, Bill, in that, you know, I remember way back, I used to have the thought, well, then what will happen to my life, you know? You know, it's as if you give up ignorance, if you give up identification, your life is going to go to pot. I mean, I remember having those thoughts, you know, and it's amazing. I mean, I can testify from my experience, and that's just my experience, that it's the opposite. In fact, living as this personal self, it short circuits the system. It short circuits the universe somehow, rather than, you know, the whole thing about, you know, self-control and personal will and all of that. It short circuits the universe, in my experience. That's my experience. So I speak my experience, and I say that there is another way of living the situations that occur in our life, and that's for us to explore. And it's available to us because we are we are the one who calls the shots. I don't mean the brain, I don't mean the mind, I don't mean thoughts. I mean, I as consciousness, I'm the one who calls the shots. I mean, who else? Thoughts appear to me. The fact they appear to me, that means they're not my bosses, because they appear to me. So there is something bigger than the thought, which is that which perceives them, which is I. So no matter how powerful the thought is, and I know, I mean, I've been swayed right and left by thoughts and feelings. I've done, you know, like all of us. I mean, all of us. We somehow we give power to thought, and the power that thought has comes from our belief that we are a personal self. Because when we are a personal self, we have lost our power. We have lost our fearlessness. As a personal self, the seed of mortality and the fear of ending is there somewhere. Even if it's in the freaking basement, it's there somewhere. Because personal selves, no matter how grandiose they may be at this moment, sooner or later, they won't be that grandiose. So there is the fearlessness of consciousness. which is in complete contrast to the fear of being immortal, body-mind, even a very smart body-mind.
So I'm tracking you, but before I surrender to what you're saying, let me just throw another proviso in there. When you started, you said, well, of course, if someone is standing on your foot, that's a little more complicated than it may appear, because if the person is literally, not a metaphor, the person is literally standing on your foot, then it's clear.
Yes.
But the problem is that for every time someone has literally stood on your foot, I have imagined somebody metaphorically standing on my foot 1,000 times.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's say that.
And even sometimes it's me who's standing on my foot. You know, it's not necessarily the other.
Yeah. You know,
can I interrupt? It's like I went to the grocery store this afternoon.
Yeah.
And for some reason it comes to mind that, you know, if, for example, I'm in a museum and I'm looking at a Renoir, and you see the people along the river holding their umbrellas, and they're all just so beautiful, just peaceful, standing along the river. But when I'm in the grocery store, if that woman is in front of the empanadas and she's talking to somebody else and I need an empanada, she's in my way.
Right. Yeah, so that's a very good example, right? At that moment, what do I do? I mean, obviously, there is a whole scenario of things for you to do. What choice do you make? So I would say that the choice that's gracious, that is fair to everybody, that is coming from love and understanding and honor and respect, I would say that that's the choice that I would go with. I want the empanada, and so there is a way for me to express that, and there is a way that's graceful and that recognizes, who knows, this other person may be having, somehow she's standing in front of the empanadas and suddenly it struck her about, like, I don't know, maybe the grief that she's just lost her dad and now she's frozen in front of the empanada. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. So out of intelligence and honor for everybody involved, including myself, who wants to buy the empanadas and go home, I make a call. Whatever call I make, I don't know. So, but that's a good example. Here's an option of, you have options of how to, and it's available to you to act in this moment in your life out of intelligence, love, for everybody included, for all parties included. And a simple example applies to all sorts of examples. You know, in relationship where, you know, then maybe somebody who's just spilling their stuff, you know, and it's excessive. Here you are, you're like sort of the dumping ground, you know. How do you deal with that then? Maybe the situation, you know, it's different from the empanada, but not that different. You know, we don't know what's going on with this person. We don't know what sort of stress is going on. We don't know. But at the same time, we're not the trash can. So here we are. How do we respond in this situation from, you know, love and understanding and intelligence for everybody involved? So maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we listen a little bit more, and at some point we sort of, you know, say something. Maybe we're done with listening, and we we just hold them. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. And we don't. There isn't like a fixed answer to your question, Bill. It's life. It's life. It's alive. You're asking a question about life, and life is what you are. Life is consciousness. Life is living itself right now as we speak. That's life. It's this. It's this. How are we together right now? And, you know, listening, speaking, sharing. So now you are right in that whenever we completely ignore ourselves, we sort of make ourselves the doormat, you know, or whenever we make ourselves the righteous one, these both models don't come from love and intelligence. They don't. Whether we're abusing the other or abusing ourselves, whether we're denigrating the other or denigrating ourselves, it's same. What's the difference? We're denigrating consciousness. We're denigrating our freedom. The freedom of the other and the freedom of myself are equal. So it's lived, but you cannot live it ahead of time. You can't predict it. And when we are living as presence, as intelligence, as honor, as fairness and love, when we're living that, it's not just a one-time shot. It's unfolding, you know, and in that, it makes no sense to judge oneself or judge the other, you know, because at the body-mind level, at this life level, there is no perfection. It's perfect as it is. There isn't like the deep way, the perfect, you know, form, infinite forms. So there isn't a judgment. It's an ongoing. I find that like also something that's happened, you know, in my experience is that it's like I don't retain that much stuff that has happened. I don't, okay, even if somebody has done something or I've done something foolish, it's like, okay, you know, I assume everybody's doing their best. You know what I mean? So what's the point of storing, you know? Like in the old days, there was much more storage. Now it's more fluid. How are you doing with the snow out there? Are you guys okay? Did you get the bad storm, or are you good?
We're skiers. Snow's good.
Wonderful. That's great.
You get lemons, go ski.
Oh, great. Yes. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully soon, you know, will be this COVID will lift a little bit, we'll be able to hook up and see you guys.
Thanks.
All right, Bill. Say hi to Raz for me, yeah?
Okay.
Okay. So, any questions? Hello, Holger.
W-O-W.
W-O-W?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Wow. It's so beautiful to listen to you. I mean, thank you for all the sharing. Isn't it how you spell wow? W-O-W?
Yes, I think so. I think so, yes. Yeah.
And just by spelling it, you take away the whole meaning. I mean, it just wanted to thank you.
Yes. Okay, Holger. Thank you. Thank you all. I'm, as always, very happy and grateful for all of us. You know, it's really, really beautiful because we are such, you know, just such good friends. Wonderful. So Holger, Bill, Charlie, Esther, and George, Marga, Kelly, hello Kelly, Holly, Zoe, and John. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Magdi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you, Magdi.
Namaste all.